Hello and welcome to the weekly art roundup, where I document all the things art related that I have achieved for the week, the insights and discoveries I have made, and then create a new set of goals for the coming week. Hopefully by these videos I can inspire you to keep working on your own artistic or life journeys. And there's quite a bit to cover this week. I have some news as well. Well, let's get started with the gesture drawings because I try to do them first. I have two piles here, I guess, because I did the gestures and forms as well. So there we go. So this was the first one, which was still very stiff. I thought it's getting there. It's almost where I want it to be. And then I tried doing the same pose, the same horse, using the same reference for the forms and contours. And also I thought it would be good to try putting a bit of a skeletal structure underneath, just so I have a better understanding of how it all works, and it might help me a little bit with my proportions as well. I don't think that I would start drawing a horse with a skeleton, but if I need to flesh out or create forms for certain parts of the horse, I can use my knowledge of the underlying structure to help me fill out that form, which is what I did actually here. I don't know if you can see it, but I did put a shape in for the shoulder just for me to be able to get that angle. So those are our first ones that we did. All right, the next one, I think this was a little bit looser. I think I'd already warmed up for the morning after that first sketch. I quite like this one. It was a little bit difficult to get the foreshortening and the overlapping forms, because there is a tendency to flatten out forms even when they're overlapping. So I think I could have even made these a little bit tighter. And I did have to, I don't know if you can quite see, but I did have to move the head because the head was originally out here. And I tucked it in a little bit more because I realised that my overlapping forms weren't overlapping enough. So yeah, I quite like that one. And then I did the contours and forms. It was a tough pose. It was a tough one to do. So you can see that one there. And then the underlying skeletal structure, which also helped me to turn forms. So that was the other thing that I tried to do, is to turn, I have trouble turning forms. And by doing this, it helps me. It helps me simplify some of the underlying structure and also to turn the forms. So I'll just quickly bring this one in because I only did one page of this, and you can see where I was trying to understand what's going on. So I tried making it a box, but then I realized that wasn't really accurate because it's just not an accurate representation of the form. So I'm still trying. It's a work in progress, that one. Yeah, so I quite like these ones. I thought they came out quite well. And then we have the third page, which for some reason, I don't know, it went way out of proportion. I think it was the difficult pose of having the head underneath. It's not one of my best works. Although I do like some of the stronger lines here and there, which does bring a little bit of focus towards the better parts, which is this part. If I just went like this, that looks good. It's this that doesn't look good. It's like two different people drew the same horse. One did the back end and one did the front end. But it's all a learning process, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then I did the forms for it and contours, which gave me, you can see by doing this, concentrating on how the shapes are turning and the perspective of what we can see, which basically comes down to the perspective of the box. And it really does help in understanding what's going on. And then I did the bones in here. I didn't do the head, there's no head, because I didn't want to confuse myself any further. So that was the gesture drawings for the week, and like I said, I did try and turn forms. I've only got one page of that. It is something that I will have to keep working on, but I think what I might do from now on, instead of specifically setting out a goal to do so many pages of this kind of thing. I'm just going to do it in my downtime. So if I'm watching TV or something like that, I'll just grab a piece of scrap paper and a pencil, and I'll just, even just turning boxes again, which I have done in the past, all helps in the understanding and of what's going on. So I did put some in my little horsey sketchbook, which is starting to fill out. Let's go to the most current gesture drawing. So I believe that's it there, which turns out to be, was it the first horse that I did? No, but a very, very close pose. I thought it might have been that first one, but it's not. It's very close. But yeah, so this is what we've got. It's all right. I mean, I'm going to try and get out of the headspace where this little horsey sketchbook has to be perfect. So this is fine. I can look back at this one day and say that this was part of the journey for me to learn to draw horses. So that's that one. And I did do forms, so I left a couple of pages blank so I could do some more gestures. And I did do a page of those forms there. So pretty similar to what I've been doing already. Even working these contours a little bit more. I don't know if you can see. And yeah, the underlying skeletal structure I thought really helps. I think will really help build my understanding of what's going on. So I do like doing that. And I might continue to do that just again in my downtime. So I might not necessarily focus on that from now on, because I do want to focus on some other things. All right, so we get to the anatomy drawings. Now, I did mention that I wanted to try and connect the front and the back of the horse together. So that is what I tried to do. So you can see here, it's out of proportion, but that's because I was concentrating on the muscle groups and in my head, trying to fit them all together. So I wasn't really concerned about the proportion. So I think what I'm going to do next is actually put the order of muscles in. So when you lift up the skin, what can you see directly underneath, and then what's under that, and then what's under that. I need to a level that I need to for my artistic knowledge, so not every muscle will be there. I don't need to know every muscle. I actually found it really difficult to find references on the back, the spine, the vertebra area of, the muscles and all that stuff that's in that area. So I had to do quite a lot of searching on the internet for that. We can see that I'm concentrating on different muscles. And then the last page, I didn't get my 4 pages done, unfortunately. I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, you can see how I've lengthened out the proportion of the horse because I'm concentrating on trying to draw in all of those muscles so that it's gotten longer, and the neck has actually shortened. So if I want to do proper, which I will do some proper anatomy drawings, I will have to make sure that all of that is in a little bit better proportion. But yeah, so this is more of an overall connecting the front to the back. So I think I'm good with that now. I have a rudimentary understanding of what's going on, so I'm happy with that for now. So I will move into the legs, but I'll do that next week. And I'm actually going to take a week off from my goals, because I did have a bit of a stressful week this week, and it did affect my productivity. So that's just an unfortunate way that it is. Sometimes I get very stressed out, for no good reason, mind you. It's no one's fault, really. It's just my own. I just go through these cycles where I get very stressed out over the most minuscule things, and I make mountains out of tiny little molehills. And these mountains don't go away, so then I get re-triggered every now and then. And that's just the way that I work. I think it's a byproduct of not getting out of the house, which is again is it's not something I can't control. The paintings. We nearly forgot about the paintings. But before I get into the paintings, I do want to mention that I am starting a Patreon. So it doesn't look very good at the moment because I don't know anything about it. So this is the first time I've actually tried to make anything of what I do, and I'm just crossing my fingers that eventually down the road that I can get more feedback in the way of people, I don't know, perhaps wanting some of my work, or I don't know. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I started a Patreon because I want to feel that what I do is worth something, is worth something to people other than me. If that makes sense. It's hard to explain. It is hard to explain. So it does have 2 tiers at the moment. I'm not sure what I'm going to be putting on it. So the first tier is just general support, and if anyone does subscribe to that, I would honestly really thank you. From the bottom of my heart, you don't know how much of a difference that it would make to me to see that someone is saying, yes, what you are doing is worth something. It's worth putting into the world. So that's something that's going on. There is also a second tier, and that's where I'm going to try and tidy up and put my study notes in. So it'll be like a monthly PDF. I'm thinking PDF. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm new to this, but of all my study notes for the month. So that will be in the next tier. And yeah, anyway, on to the paintings. I had a really good time with the paintings this week. Obviously, I did them early in the week before I got triggered, my stress triggers. So what I might do is I might read my diaries along with these paintings. So just bear with me for a second. I need to get into my diaries. Okay, so the diary entries for this week are interesting because, like I said, I did have a pretty good time. And I think that this... Oh, hang on. Just gone to grab my other paintings. This one's still wet, so I have to be careful. But I think from when I started, these were my first 2. Some of my first ones. And I think that there is a huge difference between, maybe not that one, but between some of these others. Let's say, for instance, this one. There's a huge difference. There's like a huge jump in skill. I say skill with a question mark because I honestly don't know what happened. So let's read the diaries. This was the last one from last week, and I think this was a transitional painting, and I think this was allowed me to transition from this type of thing. Although, to be fair, these were just colour studies, and to be fair, this is a colour study too, and these are colour studies, but there's a huge difference you can see. That's really basic. And this is the transitional. This was the transitional painting. And then this week, I don't know what happened. But all of a sudden, I can paint. So I'll read the diary now. So I was eager to get started with my day, and I was able to get quite a lot done, even though I was a bit worried about the extra workload I gave myself. And by that I mean I wanted to get most of my oil painting out of the way first if I could. So with that in mind, I started painting earlier in the morning than I usually would. I think it gave me a head start, and I was really surprised at my results. It felt like someone else was painting. I don't know how or why, but things just seemed to click together a little better. I was having a great time, and I felt like I was being rewarded in real time on the canvas. And when I say canvas, I mean piece of cardboard. Anyway, I was blown away by the results, and I can only think the biggest change was being able to calm myself down at the start and take my time. That's it. I can't believe it. It made so much of a difference. But after a while, I realised I had to start the long paintings as well, and that's when the slight concern over the extra work niggled into the back of my head. So when I sat down to start the long painting, I once again had to calm myself and tell myself I didn't have to finish this one in one sitting. This one was going to be over a number of sittings, and with that in mind, I was able to start. The start of the long painting was okay, but it felt a little rough, and I think I should have taken a bigger break between the first one I did in the morning and this one. I think whether I can pull this off is going to come down to staying calm and time or energy management. But then the first day of the week is usually like that with so much to do. So this was the result of the practice painting, which was actually, when you think about it, was actually many practice paintings on one piece of cardboard. which I think was pretty cool. And I think that was when I realised that I was doing all this work on this. I mean, I could have spent a lot more time on this, but then I needed to do my long painting because that was the biggest goal. That's the goal that I think was going to make the biggest difference for the week. But anyway, on to the next day. Tuesday. The painting went okay again. I had to once again make an effort to remain calm so I could think a little clearer about what I wanted to do with the paint and my brushes. I tried the same technique as yesterday and I think it's working for me. That technique is basically taking a moment to consider what I'm trying to do with my brushstroke and making each one count instead of flying off all over the place with haphazard paint strokes and then trying to work to fix it up. It is a switch from panic mode to a more curious mindset. What do I think a paint stroke here would do? Let's try this colour here or there. It's about being mindful of what I'm doing at any moment. It makes a difference. The background was a bit bland, but that's okay this time because I still had my long painting session to do and I wanted to get that work done before I got tired of painting for the day. So this was the result of that, which I think is beautiful. I love it. I actually really like it. I think these are cornerstone paintings for me. Back to the diary and talking about my long painting process. So speaking of which, I worked the long painting a little bit more today with more of those considered brush strokes, but I was a little undecided on what to do with the background. At first I thought I could make it some kind of nondescript greenery with a patch of blue sky, but something about that didn't feel satisfactory to me. So I tried doing a blue sky across the top, but I still wasn't happy. So I went back to my style references and a beautiful painting of a horse, and I thought perhaps that I could try treating the background in a similar way. So I tried to get rid of most of the green except for a patch underneath the horse, but there was so much green on that I had already painted down, so the blue ended up being a bluish green, which is okay. Then I left it for the day. I've also decided I might have something worthy of setting up a Patreon for. At least I hope so. I don't know what else to do. So that was that was what I was thinking in my diary. All right, so before I go on to the next diary entries, I just want to show you this long painting. So this is my first painting piece. This will be my first actual piece of work. Let's read the diary on that day. I didn't have to worry about the practice paintings today as they are done now, so I can clean up the long painting and spend a little bit more time on that. I fixed up a few issues with the horse and I played around with a few colours here and there, trying to remember I want to use more vibrant colours for the highlights and shadows. And then I fixed up the ground as best I could. I kind of like it, but it feels like something is missing. I did consider putting something under the horse's head, like a bucket or a cat or something, but then I thought it might take too much of the focus off if I did that. So I left it, thinking that it would be okay as it is. It's an early piece in my art journey. I will consider this my first proper painting and my first oil painting as part of my body of work that everyone keeps saying an artist needs. Well, I want to be an artist, so this is my first official oil painting piece. Also, I didn't see the need to add more sessions in for such a small painting, so I got this done in 3 sessions. So that's about 3 hours of work. Perhaps the next one will have more planned into the piece and take longer. Well, now I can concentrate on my other tasks, the gesture and form drawings and the anatomy studies. I will do those for the rest of the day. That was actually the day when I started getting stressed out in that afternoon while I was doing those studies. Those gesture drawings. I was slowly sinking into my stress cycle. I'm lucky though, sometimes it'll only last for a day or two, and if I'm unlucky it will last for the entire week. But this time it only lasted for about 2 or 3 days, which does put a kink in my works, but it's something that I know about myself and something that I keep trying to find ways to work around. So because I know that there is another, even though while I'm in the stress machine, it doesn't feel like there is a way out. I just know that give myself a little bit of time and I can get myself out. Sometimes faster, sometimes not so fast, but that's just the way it is. And I actually wrote about it. So on Thursday, I don't know how I can focus. I'm getting so stressed about things outside that I'm just not thinking clearly. Yesterday afternoon and now today, I have been trying so hard not to focus on those things as it's not something I can change. I can't go outside and yell at the world to be quiet. I know the problem is me, and that's what is so frustrating. I didn't get much work done yesterday afternoon or today. I was too upset at myself. So yeah, that's me kind of in the middle of the stress machine. On Friday, I'm trying to concentrate on my anatomy studies today. I'm still dealing with ongoing stress, but I want to be able to keep doing my tasks. It's frustrating. Now I have fallen behind on my tasks and I don't know if I can get all of my goals done for this week. The biggest issue for me now is I'm not prepared for recording the next Roundup video. And yeah, which is what I'm doing right now. And I'm not prepared. I've got a ton of editing to do yet. It's Monday morning. Normally I would have this published by now, but I don't. So I'm doing that now. I'm catching up. So yeah, that's my painting. That's my first long painting. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, I was able to work out some of the issues that I was having while doing this. I need to sign it. I should be signing these. Ooh, I'll have to get a paintbrush and sign it later, or some way to sign it. I should sign all of these, really. But yeah, all right. So that's that taken care of. So let's have a look at our goals. Okay, 3 printer papers of gestures and forms, and 1 gesture and form in the sketchbook. Yes, I did do that. So that's a tick. 2 printer papers of turning forms, skeletal forms, pelvis, attachments, that kind of thing. Well, I only did 1. So that's a yes and a no. I don't want to mark a big X because that's gonna make me feel bad. So that's a yes and a no. 4 pages in the sketchbook, anatomy study, connecting the horse front to the back. With the muscles. Digital will be extra. I didn't do any digital this week, so I don't need to worry about that. I did 3 pages. So that's almost a yes, but I'll put that down as a yes because that's most of it done. Oil painting, 2 cardboards of parts to explore, so I did that. And I ended up just doing the whole horse on that one, the head portrait. And a long painting. So yes, I did do that. I've got 3 paintings in front of me. So that is a yes. So we're going to rip that baby off. It's a shame that I didn't make all my goals, but I realised that that things happen, and I'm also realising I don't want to be so strict about what I'm doing. It is good to have goals at the start, I think, to get yourself started. And if I feel that I am starting to slip again and not work on the things that I want to work, if I start to procrastinate, I will start setting goals like this again. But for now, I think this week, I did mention that I was going to have this week off making goals. So this week is going to stay blank. But what I will be doing is I want to do some more painting. I want to concentrate on painting, and I want to clean up some of my studies. Perhaps do a few more of these so that I can put them in a PDF file and put them on Patreon. So the first month is going to be huge. I don't know if I can do this workload every month, but I will try and have a PDF every month of my study notes. So this will be the type of thing that will be included in the study notes. So it could be gesture drawings. Could be form drawings like these. That's what I want to concentrate on this week, is preparing that and doing more painting. So I want to just sort of allow myself to de-stress a little bit this week. So no actual concrete goals. Yeah, so I don't know. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think I should do, if you've got any advice. Nevertheless, I will be taking a break this week and just doing what I want because I'm allowed to do that as far as art is concerned. I might do I'll take it easy this week. I think I'll take it easy. So, all right, we're at the end. Lots of ups and downs again this week, like last week, and lots of discoveries, and I think new directions. I think definitely some new directions, especially with the paintings. I think I'm really starting to hit my stride with the oil paintings, which I'm really pleased about. And what I want to be able to do is to take what I've learned here and apply it to other things, like perhaps painting other animals, or perhaps painting portraits of people, of, you know, whatever it is, whatever I want to get into, whatever takes my fancy. I will eventually come back to other things. I know that there is a lot of horse stuff at the moment, and it makes me look like a crazy horse person, a crazy horse lady. But I could be a crazy cat lady, crazy dog lady. We will see. We will see what the future will hold. But I am making this choice right now so that I have a system for learning, and that will be something that I can work with, and I will document that. So I will be documenting my progress. It's my roadmap. And so far, I still think that it is working quite well. So tell me what you think. Let me know in the comments, or just leave a like if you liked it. Or if you reach the end, type in, make a comment and just say, I made it. I made it. I hope going through my learning process is interesting enough to at least watch. And my hope is that it gives you a few ideas to try for yourself. Let me know if you're on your own journeys and what stage you're at even. Or if you just want to leave a message or give advice. I'm always open to ideas. But anyway, if you would like to see more, maybe subscribe and come back to check out the progress with the series every now and then. And and I would really like some feedback on the Patreon thing. So go check that out. I'll put a link in the description of the video. And I will see you next week, hopefully. I will put out a video next week, but whether I see you next week, whether you watch it next week. But anyway, thank you for watching. Keep drawing, everybody, and bye.